Have you stopped being curious? Have companies stopped being curious? Have people stopped being curious? And the reason why I ask this question is also because I feel as though right now there's an unwillingness to learn anymore. I feel as though the door is slowly closing on what could we possibly do to improve on gender equality, because there are so many resources out there. We know. We've read the report. We know, we get it. But there's a huge difference between learning and knowing and then putting it into application. And I think this is where we have two issues. On the one hand, there is the lack of curiosity anymore. Oh, I know what someone's going to say to me. I know. Women. And then on the other hand, it's like, well, I understand all of that, which I think is preventing a lot of movement. I think it's preventing us from understanding that no, you only know so much, and in many cases what you think you know you actually don't, and it's pushing through to keep questioning. And I think this is where we're kind of stopping the momentum, slowing down, because everybody was curious about gender equality, everybody was curious about this topic of diversity, but now it's like, well, I'm not curious anymore because I know what it is, I know what's going on. But what's the next bit? Knowing isn't doing. And I can't remember where I read this. I don't remember. But I remember reading and talking about it. And it was basically along the lines of, in general, we always feel like we're doing something when we're reading. We feel like once we're reading, we're educating ourselves. So now you know. But if you're not making any of the changes to go along with your new learnings, it's almost pointless. And when I say almost pointless, you can know in your logical and intellectual mind that this is what you need to be doing. You can know this right up here, but it doesn't mean that translates into any changes. It doesn't mean that moves you into doing anything differently, apart from being able to use this newfound knowledge in a source of conversation. It's great if you can rattle off all the statistics about, I don't remember them all because I'm not good at remembering stats sometimes, but you can say, if all women are part of the workforce, there's a lost GDP of $12.7 trillion or whatever. It's good if you know all of that, but that's very theoretical. Are you still curious enough to take it to the next level? Are you still thinking about, how do I apply this in daily life? Not just daily life, but also in your work life. Because for me, we're becoming, I worry that we're becoming, in many senses, and when I say this, I'm going to explain this, but, we're becoming very academic in the way that we're looking at things, i.e. we're creating hypotheses, we're looking to prove or disprove this hypothesis, etc., in order to avoid applying our knowledge. And I think sometimes, yes, we can talk about, the changing of power of hands and all of that, and that plays a huge role. But my point is this: if you lack the curiosity to learn because you think you know, you stop yourself from taking actions because you trick yourself into believing that what you're doing right now is enough. And it isn't. We have to keep doing, I think it was my grandma that said to me, I don't know what the context of the conversation was, but I know she said, what more could you have done? And if you're not curious, your answer, well, I've done everything possible. But the reality is there is always something more. And the something more requires digging deeper into layers that you may not feel comfortable digging into. Excuse me. It also might involve moving out of your own thought process and actually sitting down with peers, but also maybe people outside of your usual circle to continue this conversation. One of the first points of call, or the first tenets of like how we operate at Benefactum Consulting is challenge assumptions. Challenge them. Because an assumption is a deliberate decision based off stereotypes and things you see, but it's not necessarily founded in any sort of reality. So don't give up on being curious. You know that moment where you think, if I push this door open, I'm going to have to dig into it deeper. If I push this door open, can I be bothered? See, at that point right there where you think you can't be, go that one bit further, because that could mean the difference. And this isn't just about your development within the frame of the corporate world, because if we're going to embody all of our values, which is something I've spoken about before, there shouldn't be a value set for outside of work and a value set for inside of work. This curiosity should fundamentally drive how you behave as a person. And it should drive how you view yourself in each arena, but being anchored by your values means that you will make decisions based upon those. So don't stop curiosity. I know they say curiosity killed the cat, but we're not cats. Is it wrong that I want to laugh at my own little joke? We're not. So embrace your curiosity. And in the moment you feel like you know, remember that you don't. There's another door to open, because that right there is the beauty of change. That moment right there is the difference between doing what you always did and doing something completely new and hopefully improved. So those are my thoughts for today, and have a great day. Goodbye.